Again, so happy to have everyone here with us. For those of you who are regulars here, you know that we offer the opportunity for you to put your name and where you are in the world, on whose land you reside, and anything about your tradition that you'd like to share, any descriptor of your tradition in the chat. That will help our guest get to know you better. And you know that you can interact in the chat throughout the session if you feel called to do so. But I'm very happy that we have Kaethe Schwehn with us today. And I'm going to allow her to introduce herself, but we're really in for a treat with some prompts for creativity in the area of writing and connecting more deeply with ourselves in that way. So I'll hand it over to you, Kaethe.
Thank you so much, Molly and Margaret, and all of you. I am so grateful to be here. And I'm just in awe of the space that's been created here. So thank you for having me. Um, a little bit about my background. I enter the space as a practicing Christian. I've been an ELCA Lutheran for my whole life. I'm hopefully one of the good Christians. The Christians we were just talking about, who were interrupting the monks on their journey. That's no good, not that kind of Christian. I'm also a writer, and I'm a writer of poetry and memoir and fiction. And my faith influences both the content of what I write, and it also influences my practices as a writer. And so we're going to get into some of those practices a little bit later on here. But in terms of content, I've written a memoir about Holden Village, which is an intentional Christian community in Washington where I lived for a year. And my most recent novel, which is called The Gospel of Salome, is biblical historical fiction and imagines a different mother for Jesus. So as you might be able to guess from that description, I'm often writing with sort of a foot in two different worlds. A lot of times, certain Christians don't feel like I'm Christian enough for that kind of audience. And a lot of secular folks feel like maybe I'm too much in a spiritual realm to be of interest to them. So I sort of am often feeling between worlds. One foot here, one foot there, a cusp person, a liminal person. And I wonder if many of you feel sometimes in those same sorts of liminal and cusp places yourselves. We're also, yes, thumbs up, absolutely. We're also approaching a seasonal cusp, right? In Minnesota 2 weeks ago, it was -20 here, and today it's 50 degrees. And so I know up in other parts of the world, some of you are kind of moving in the opposite direction toward cooler temperatures or longer nights. And I think that we feel these cusp times in our bodies as well. Um, as some of you heard me say, I live in Northfield, Minnesota. I'm about 45 minutes away from Minneapolis. And so we've been living here under ICE occupation for over a month now. And though much of the attention has been on Minneapolis, ICE is very present in rural communities here too. Um, this week it was announced that the ICE surge will end, but no one here quite believes it yet. So we're waiting to see if ICE is going to depart, and we're still delivering groceries and offering rides because safety and certainty have also not arrived yet. So I feel like we're here in Northfield, we're on a kind of cusp of waiting as well. And I wonder how many of you are in political or personal liminal or cusp spaces as well, waiting for a test result, or waiting for forgiveness and reconciliation with someone, or waiting for the voice of God or gods or a spirit to call you to your next endeavor. So those are all the kinds of cusps and liminal spaces and things that I think that we're seeking and waiting for. And today I wanted to share with you a poem that's about waiting. Um, and I'll share the poem. I'll talk a little bit about some of my practices as a writer and how I think they connect to my spiritual life. And then I'm going to offer you a prompt that hopefully permits you to maybe engage in some of these same practices as well. We will actually write for maybe 7 to 10 minutes. We'll see how we're doing on time. And then there'll be a way to do like a little bit of sharing if people want to, by putting some things in the chat, but that'll be totally optional. So do not stress out about that. Um, Also, during the time that I offer for the prompt, if you want to use that time to meditate, to pray, to just take some deep breaths, to do downward dog, I don't know, like, please feel free to use that time as you need to use it. Um, Okay, so the poem that I want to share with you is by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Um, it was published in 1958, so quite a while ago. And the poem talks a lot about America, but I hope that as I read it, you can hear the ways that it relates to other times and other places as well. And I'm going to read, and the wonderful Molly is going to go ahead and move the slides forward for me. And at the end of the slideshow, at the end today, I'll also have a link to the poem itself, to my website, to things like that, in case you want to get in touch or look at the poem more deeply. Folks feel ready? Can I go ahead and start reading? Is that good? Yeah. All right. So this poem is called I Am Waiting by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I am waiting for my case to come up, and I am waiting for a rebirth of wonder. And I am waiting for someone to really discover America and wail. And I am waiting for the discovery of a new symbolic Western frontier. And I am waiting for the American eagle to really spread its wings and straighten up and fly right. And I am waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. And I am waiting for the war to be fought, which will make the world safe for anarchy. And I am waiting for the final withering away of all governments, and I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the second coming, and I am waiting for a religious revival to sweep through the state of Arizona, and I am waiting for the grapes of wrath to be stored, and I am waiting for them to prove that God is really American, and I am waiting to see God on television piped onto church altars if only they can find the right channel to tune in on, and I am waiting for the Last Supper to be served again with a strange new appetizer, and I am perpetually awaiting a rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for my number to be called, and I am waiting for the Salvation Army to take over, and I am waiting for the meek to be blessed and inherit the earth without taxes, and I am waiting for forests and animals to reclaim the earth as theirs, and I am waiting for a way to be devised to destroy all nationalisms without killing anybody, and I am waiting for linnets and planets to fall like rain, and I am waiting for lovers and weepers to lie down together again in a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the great divide to be crossed, and I am anxiously waiting for the secret of eternal life to be discovered by an obscure general practitioner. And I am waiting for the storms of life to be over, and I am waiting to set sail for happiness. And I am waiting for a reconstructed Mayflower to reach America with its picture story and TV rights sold in advance to the natives. And I am waiting for the lost music to sound again in the lost continent in a new rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the day that maketh all things clear, and I am awaiting retribution for what America did to Tom Sawyer, and I am waiting for Alice in Wonderland to retransmit to me her total dream of innocence, and I am waiting for Child Roland to come to the final darkest tower, and I am waiting for Aphrodite to grow live arms at a final disarmament conference in a new rebirth of wonder. And I am waiting to get some intimations of immortality by recollecting my early childhood. And I am waiting for the green mornings to come again, youth's dumb green fields come back again. And I am waiting for some strains of unpremeditated art to shake my typewriter. And I am waiting to write the great indelible poem. And I am waiting for the last long, careless rapture. And I am perpetually waiting for the fleeing lovers on the Grecian urn to catch each other up at last and embrace, and I am awaiting perpetually and forever a renaissance of wonder. So if you want or feel up for it, please feel free to put, I don't know, a word or a response in the chat. It can be an emotion the poem raised for you. It can be a line or image that you liked. It can be anything. I should have prefaced all of this with something that I often say before poems, which is it's totally fine to not understand it. It's totally fine to just find joy in a moment of it. Um, yeah. Let's see, IDs here. Oh, you're overwhelmed in the best way. I'm so good. The great indelible poem. Yeah, it happened, right? Fabulous. Longing, yes. Waiting for the kingdom, liminal space. Yes, all of those things. Quizzical, challenging. Yes. There's a lot of like sarcasm and sassiness and tones of reverence, right? He's moving in between all of those things. Y'all are very smart readers. I should have known that. Um, I'm glad it resonates with you. Yes, waiting for peace, absolutely. Um, yeah, waiting for the world to change. That's oh, what's his name? I know this now the song's in my head and I can't.
John Mayer. John
Thank
Mayer.
you. What's gonna haunt me? Well, really wonderful. Um, so thank you for those super thoughtful responses. Um, I mentioned at the beginning that my practice of writing is also related to spirituality. So I wanted to talk about that briefly before I offer you the prompt. Um, for me, writing, especially in first drafts, is really about the process of opening myself up to mystery and to truths that reside beyond myself. And so to do this, I often free write. And so many of you might be really familiar with free writing already. Maybe you've used the process before or been assigned it back when you were in school or something like that. But free writing basically is when you set a timer and tell yourself you're going to write for that amount of time. And the idea is to try to not lift your pen off the paper, but just to keep writing and not to make corrections, not to change words, nothing. Sort of first thought, best thought, let anything that comes out come out. Um, and I think that that mode of writing is in some ways similar to automatic writing. And Molly, if you could go, let's see, to the next slide. Yeah, so automatic writing is a little bit different than free writing, though it's sort of based on some of the same principles. Automatic writing is the idea that when you do that, that sort of free writing thing, there that actually God or spirit or whatever, that some element of the divine is actually like coming through you and then writing, like coming out through your pen onto the paper. And this has been like people have used automatic writing for a long time, throughout time and space. So everyone from Chinese folk religions to Japanese Zen monks to Europeans interested in the occult to the surrealists. Um, and I go back and forth on whether or not necessarily the divine is actually moving my pen around. I have a little bit harder time with that part of it, but I do really feel like there is something about the process of free writing that lets the divine and what we don't know come in through us, that we become more like a vessel for things beyond ourselves. Um, and it always leaves me both surprised by what's come out. Sometimes really dark things come out, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that's really interesting. And so I'm always surprised by what happens, and I'm always surprised that I feel more connected to the world beyond myself. The images and characters and truths feel more shared and less owned by me, if that makes any sense. Maybe this sounds really woo-woo, but this is true for me. The other word I have up there, so basically in a second here, we're going to practice free writing, which might become a sort of automatic writing for you. Um, and anaphora is another word that poets love to throw around, which basically means the repeating of a word or phrase at the beginning of the line. So in this case of this poem, right, it's I am waiting, right? I am waiting, I am waiting, I am waiting. And the reason that this can be useful in free writing is because when you don't know what to say, sometimes we get stuck on like how to begin a line. And in this sense, the line has already begun for us. So you can say, I am waiting for the trash to be emptied. And then you already know as you begin the next line that it begins, I am waiting. And that can carry you through. And so you're not doing so much rational, wishy-washy stuff in your head. Um, does this all make sense so far? How are we doing? I'm used to being able to get like, yes, okay. Um, oh yeah, back to front and needing a mirror for read it. Oh, I love that. Oh, you've been free writing all week. Awesome. Yes, this will be right up your alley then, Margaret. And yes, visual images, automatic. Yes, yes. Oh, you use automatic writing. I love that. Um, yes, Keats too. Yes, absolutely. Okay, you guys are on top of this entirely. All right, you can switch to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to try the I am waiting because, as I said at the beginning, we're in these liminal places. And so the idea is to write as many, we're going to have 7 minutes, and to write as many I am waiting statements as you can. You might consider, as Ferlinghetti does, what are you waiting for in terms of for your country, for the world? What are you waiting for from family or friends, from popular culture, from yourself? Again, try not to overthink. Let the spirit sort of work through your subconscious. If you get stuck, you can always write, I am waiting for what to write next over and over again. And this doesn't have to be serious. It can be playful. We wait for silly and mundane things too, like I'm waiting for my husband to unload the dishwasher, right? That's a real point of waiting as well. So I'm going to invite you, if you haven't already, you can do this on a device if you wish. I'm always a fan of pen and paper because I think it makes the action, the writing more embodied. But do what you need to do, or use the next 7 minutes as time to breathe, reflect, meditate, use it however you need it. But I will set a timer for 7 minutes. If you have any questions, why don't you put them in the chat and I will answer them there. Oh, good. It makes sense. I'm so glad. Okay. But if you do have a question, feel free to put it there and I will keep an eye on that as we're going. All right. So our 7 minutes is going to begin now. So take another 30 seconds or so to get to a good stopping point. Or if you found something that you really want to reflect on later, you can write yourself a note to return to what you were working on as well. Okay, so what I would love to do next for those who feel up to it is for folks to put between 1 and maybe 3 of their I am waiting lines into the chat. And if for now we can just put the I am waiting lines in there, that would be great. And I'll maybe give everybody 2 minutes or so to do that. And then after 2 minutes, what I'm going to do is read through all of them from the top to the bottom as a sort of composite poem that we have created here out of our waiting and longing. All right, I'm going to read down from the top here all the way till there's no more words to read. I am waiting to be known. I am waiting. I am waiting for the next set of words. I am waiting to be heard. I am waiting for the broad-winged bird to coast down toward earth and sit beside me. I am waiting to knit my anti-ice hat. I am waiting for the church to be more honest. I am waiting till the world sees that we do not have to carry this alone. I am waiting to feel comfortable in my own skin. I am waiting for beets and sweet potatoes. I am waiting for the poem on knitting to arrive. I am waiting for the moment your eyes blink and we say good morning. I am waiting for the UK to stop supporting genocide, and I am waiting until you sit up and rise. The water flows as I am waiting, flowing, cleansing. Why are you waiting? Flow and let flow to the spring of all being. I am waiting for truth in leadership, and I am waiting for us to love one another. I am waiting for the light to shine in my darkened self. I am waiting for liberation, freedom, for death. I am waiting to stop waiting for my country and world to sing in four-part harmony. I am waiting with longing for the next wave to wash across my feet. I am waiting for sunset's colors, pink, peach, and evening sky. I am waiting to go to sleep. I am waiting for the power to live a great life. I am waiting for spirit to change me, to find my way in God's plan. I am waiting like a dance of hold still, then move, hold still, then move. I am waiting for national leadership to choose kindness. I am waiting for my neighbor's newborn to be well enough to be moved from ICU. I am waiting to let it all go. I know I have waited long enough. I am waiting to exhale. I am waiting to see my life reflected in my environment. I am waiting to be at one with the universe. I am waiting for freedom. I am waiting for tanks to change into doves. I am waiting for rifles to change into outstretched hands of friendship. I am waiting for the arcs of grenades to change into rainbows and be caught as a soft ball of wool. Uh, wow. You guys, that was amazing. That was really, really beautiful. Thank you for giving me that poem like that. Wow. Um, Yeah, so I know we are out of time. I'm sorry. Um, Here you have a link to the poem. You have a link to my email if you would like to message me about anything, and to my website as well if you want to learn anything more about me. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the gift of that poem. That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Kaethe. Oh my goodness. What a total and complete gift this time has been. And to everyone, your beautiful contributions to that group poem are really, really powerful, and I imagine warming the hearts of more than just myself. Please feel free to unmute as we will stop the recording, but feel free to unmute and express your gratitude and or ask a question.